All right, how's it going today, guys? Happy Tuesday. I really appreciate you guys joining the stream today. Usually we do these on Monday as part of our video series, but yesterday got a little bit away from me. Ended up going and buying a new car. The process took for fucking ever, so you guys know how that goes. It's very painful and just didn't have the ability to get the stream out today. But as part of our normal video series, Monday we do live streams, Wednesdays we do NPOC updates, and Fridays we do a quick compact review of everything kind of going on within our setups. But first things first, guys, is we are going to go over our NPOC levels. We'll go over BTC first, go over into Ethereum, and then we can maybe get to some altcoins. So just looking at here on NPOC levels, nothing has really changed for us. We do have a retest of that 45969 NPOC, which I do think can offer a decent retest here in the near future. That is kind of why on the low term timeframes I am looking for a little bit of a short term directional bias of up, right? Because this is the most recent NPOC print that has happened within our current range, right? So that is currently what we're watching for, and we are looking for that retest a little bit higher, which again, I am long BTC, I am long Ethereum over on CoinCatch. I was long yesterday and things just kind of started to look a little bit weak, and I was not able to manage those positions. Had a little bit of overexposure. I think I ended up closing them both for like 3 to 4% or something like that. So I still made money on those trades, but had a little bit more exposure when I just wasn't comfortable enough being away from my battle station, being away from the computer, because things can kind of get away from you if you are overexposed and that sort of thing. So this is currently what we're looking for as the short. If you guys are leading a little bit short heavy, if you think that the markets are going to kind of turn and you think that there is some downside, I would not really short into this right here. Personally, I would wait for a little bit higher, right? You want to get a discount on those shorts. So shorting here after this 12% move to the downside, again, just doesn't offer that best risk reward for the short play. The short play was obviously a little bit higher. Again, I did not short into that. We did have some NPOC levels in that area, that 49042, ended up tapping it perfectly, and then a move to the downside. But again, I was away from the computer, did not short, and so again, I'm not going to chase those shorts. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's how I'm looking at the market as far as wanting to be short biased. I think that there is a good narrative, but this is where we're looking at to be short, guys. If you guys aren't really willing to long here, based off some low-term time frame support levels that we've kind of talked about, and we'll get into that in just a second, the next area of interest to long is going to be that 39 to 3800 area. And I think this does offer a decent area to long, because if you kind of look at it, we do have a range where we have highs, we have lows, and then this would kind of be like a deviation outside that with acceptance back in, kind of like what happened at the top, right? So deviation above into that 49K area, re-acceptance back in, retest of lower, deviation lower, and then move to the upside to around those 50K targets. I do think that this is a very decent setup for you guys to continue to look at. 38K we have been watching for a while now, and actually I do want to save this just in case. We are going to save this setup so that we can refer back to it down the road. And again, organization is key, I always say, and then we always do the date, which is 1/16. So again, we always like to have a good structure as far as organization over on this right side, and so that way we can refer back to a few things, right? And that just kind of brings us over to some longs that we've kind of currently been watching. So since early in December, we've been kind of waiting to kind of long those 38K NPOC levels. They printed right here, all three of them on an uptrend higher, right? We never got the retest down into them, but they were December 1st, December 2nd, and December 3rd. We had 3 NPOC prints. So that has been kind of keeping us at bay with wanting to continue to look for that move lower. That is currently what we're looking at. But again, I hate hard stop loss levels because a lot of the times they get ran and then the play moves in the direction of what you had originally anticipated. So stop losses are tough. I don't like to give stop loss levels because a lot of the times I average down when people are getting stopped out, and they get mad at me because I ended up having size to that position, and then price goes in the direction that I wanted to. I ended up profiting while that person gets stopped out. So, again, stop loss levels are tough. It really depends on your capital size, your portfolio size, what you're comfortable with adding into that position, that sort of thing. I go over this a lot. So if this is your first stream, I definitely understand. But yeah, that is currently what we're looking at, guys. We've been wanting to long a little bit lower. Really, anywhere dollar cost average into these NPOC levels, in my opinion, is a good entry if we do get it. Now, that is if we get it. I'm not sure if we're going to get it. We talked about the deviation out, deviation above, deviation below, and then acceptance back in. So it is possible to kind of have a quick wick into those areas to close them and not really give you the ability to get positioned the way that you want, right? I think that's kind of what happened up here, where a lot of people, including myself, did not get the short positions that they wanted because it just happened too fast. Potential same scenario with that to the downside, wick below, acceptance back in, trend continues, right? So that is really all I'm looking at for NPOC levels on BTC, guys. I'm not overcomplicating things. We have a retest of this area, which I'm looking for. We are somewhat at a support level down in this, so I don't want to get bearish. even though we have these NPOC levels lower. For me, it's hard to anticipate lower when we still are sitting at a support level. Again, that's kind of why I've been on and off longing BTC and Ethereum and still kind of leaning towards those longs. Let's just get into Ethereum. Again, nothing is different from me, guys. I still am targeting the same thing on Ethereum like we did on Bitcoin. We have a short-term directional bias of up just because we have the most recent print on NPOC levels at 2596. So again, let's just kind of create some game plans with this. Potentially you can look to kind of short into this. I don't think I'm going to look to short into this. I think Ethereum has way more legs than Bitcoin. But again, I like to offer you guys the scenario, right? So retest this. If you're very short heavy and you think we're going lower, this could be a short entry for you guys based off of this NPOC level here. And again, we will go over and organize this, save this as our 116 short. And then previous price action or previous setups that we had, 110 was to long these NPOC levels down lower if we get them. Actually, I'm going to combine these two, right? Since they're not too far apart, we are going to combine these two and just say that we want a dollar cost average within this area here. So something right here where we can kind of do a long entry, something within this area. So come over here for organizational setup, 1/16 long. So this is kind of, you know, what we're looking at, right? We have lower if you aren't willing to long this area, although I think that it is, you know, if you are wanting lower, you kind of have to look at where we're currently at. I think that we are at a support level here. For me, again, basic support and resistance, even though we have NPOC levels lower, that does not mean that support has to break. So looking at the low term time frame, we do have the current range here. And again, we'll kind of get into that in just a second, where I do believe we are at a support level buy zone currently, and we did get a nice reaction out of our buy zone from here. Again, this was created before our dip down into that. That's why I've been buying on and off, again, depending on my situation, if I'm at the computer or whatever, but I did rebuy today on this wick down lower just because I felt like maybe I did just mismanage the trade a little bit, even though I made some profits off of those trades. You know, I do want to try and maximize these positions as well as possible. So I still think higher. We are at that support level, very clear support level, right? Support here, you know, some price action here, and then higher. And then I think even a little bit within this area as well, you can kind of consider some support. So once resistance, now turn to support. So that is why sometimes waiting for that dig deeper into these NPOC levels might not be the best idea, just based off of low-term time frames. And again, that is our long scenario, but we also know that we have short-term directional bias of up based off the most recent NPOC print that happened. And again, that is aligning with our low-term time frame, current range, lower limit as a support level, wanting to go a little bit higher. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Again, going back and forth and just wanting to talk about NPOC prints with current ranges and that sort of thing. So let's continue with ETH here. If you guys have any questions, please just let me know. We did create the long, we did create the short. That is currently what we're looking at as far as just our short-term directional local range. And then we obviously have higher areas that we can kind of long into if we get a retest of 2000. Again, just wanting to talk about downside just because it is good to be prepared. We do know that 2000 is a very psychological and technical area for support that we should kind of be longing into if we get it. Kind of been wanting to long those into December as well. And so this is another really good call that NPOC pivoted perfectly to 690. I was long from, I think, down in here or just down in this price action, and I did take all of my profits up at this rejection. Now, was that a mistake? Maybe, because this could rip to 3,000, but whatever. You know, I'm getting another entry lower on the low-term time frames that I'm finding on our current ranges and NPOC levels, right? So for me, I think that locking in profits is always key. You know, it's not your profit until you lock it in. Unrealized profits are not profits. Realized profits are profits. So just always remember that. And again, this was just a really good NPOC pivot. This is what I just like to bring as an example. 2690 called it publicly all the way back from December 11th. You know, we've been waiting for a move higher into that level and a rejection, and that's exactly what we got. Again, unfortunately, I was not able to short this, but just based off of our NPOC level, if you were to take that, there was a 8% move to the downside on Ethereum, which you throw 10x leverage on it, that's an 80% move to the downside. Shit, you even throw 5x leverage on it, you are looking pretty good. So again, that's just what we like to talk about, bring up the last scenarios on Ethereum, that sort of thing. And then, you know, obviously if we go higher into 3K, that's a short area for me. This is another example of why I like NPOC pivots so much. Based off of this, We had some NPOC prints down in this area, that 2161, and it has continued to hold as support. You know, we got it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So you really had 6 times to kind of get long and be ready for this move higher, which again, that's why we were longing. We've really been long heavy all into this year and really mostly all of last year. Have not really been short heavy other than taking some quick shorts for hedging or spot holds, that sort of thing. But on Ethereum, very, very basic and very straightforward. I will say we can create a potential short entry at 3K here. And I think this is more along the lines of where I would be comfortable shorting Ethereum next. Don't really want to be shorting at 2596 just because on the low term timeframes, I think that we can run and retest highs of that 2715 area. And so again, you know, it may take some time for us to get up into this 3000 area, but we do know just by creating the game plan now, it stays on our chart. It stays organized to where once 3000 does come, we're not longing into that area, right? Because we do know that we've mapped it out as a short entry area. So just kind of rules and ways to keep you grounded to the way that you should be trading. But I just want to thank you guys for joining the stream. Shout out to you guys. Again, please get over to YouTube, Castillo Trading. You could also go to tradewithcastillo.com. That's where you can kind of see where all of the weekly video series lies. There's a VIP members tab. You go over, you just register, and then you'll get access to all of those videos for the last 4 weeks. And again, that's kind of where you can kind of do a little bit of work. That's where you can do a little bit of digging into my analysis. That's where you can do a little bit of digging into the way that I like to trade, the way that I look at charts. You know, there's live streams on there. NPOC level updates are on there. And then quick current range trading is up there as well. So get on over to Trade with Castillo, guys, as there is a lot of content for you guys to continue learning from. And then also follow me on YouTube, guys, Castillo Trading. That is where I come up with recaps. Some good shorts are coming out. Editors are doing an incredible job with helping me jumpstart that page. Very, very happy with how that is turning out. So do not forget to get over and subscribe to me on YouTube. Again, I will see you guys over in the Telegram. Thank you all for joining and thank you for being here today. I appreciate every single one of you. Peace.